The MC's getting chased by a ghost right now. He ran towards the restroom and entered the men's one. I mean, he doesn't want to get canceled. When inside, he paused for 1 second, probably realizing he was cornered. He hid in the last cubicle like, bro, your feet are visible. He even locked, as that worked in a horror movie. Also, he completely forgot about one cliche. Yeah, that's hair that came from above, cause that's open. Well, GGMC, he's dead. Good game, cause it was just a game. Or is it? Anyway, let's meet the MC. He is a gaming streamer named Choi Doyon. Currently, his chat is making fun of him for hiding in a bathroom. Valid though, cause that was stupid. He starts to complain that the game was incredibly scary. He was sweating buckets. Well, that is his selling point though, being scared, which allowed him to gain 70,000 subscribers. Later, he finally finished the game, and then someone donated and asked if the ghost was pretty, would he have stayed in the game? That is foreshadowing, by the way. Well, he replied that even if it was pretty, a ghost was still a ghost. I mean, I think most people won't agree. They might even like it cold. Anyway, Doyon was about to turn off the stream when someone asked about a collab with another YouTuber, but he just answered that he hasn't heard anything from that guy for a month. That guy was someone he was even close with, so it really was rare. Well, he turned the stream off and he tried to contact the guy again, but as usual, no answer. His mom then called him as he was about to go home to the province. He stopped at a grocery store just to pee, and while walking, the guy finally replied after a month, and all he sent was a link to a game. He tried to call him again, but no answer. The phone was off even after the message was sent. That's suspicious AF. Do not click that link, bro. Well, he clicked it, and he even downloaded it. Bruh. Good luck, brother, because it's about to go to hell. I mean, it literally thundered the moment he clicked install. Such a coincidence ain't no coincidence. While in the app, it literally asked again if he wanted to install, and he still clicked yes, thinking it was a good game to play while in the province. No, don't play a horror game in the province of any fiction story. While in his pockets, the game was starting up. Now he was on the road while it was raining so hard. Then his GPS told him to take a left turn, even though it was a highway and there was no left turn, but it repeated it again. Then it changed into a U-turn. It was a one-way highway. Then it said to turn left again, then U-turn, then left, then U-turn, then left, then again and again. Brother, this is what I was talking about. It won't even turn off no matter what. But then it said he arrived at his destination and it stopped. In front of him, there was a woman. He was absolutely not ready and hit that zombie. I mean, let's be honest, that ain't alive. We ain't blind. Doyon literally had the audacity to ask himself if he hit someone. Like, bro, it's right there in your side mirror. Then he went outside. What, bro? Why? No. Do you not see that? What? Don't. Well, at least he was nice. Trying to call 911, but his phone was stuck in the game. It was a scenario similar to his, and there were 3 options. To run, to ask a question, or to ask for compensation. He tried to back out, but it wouldn't work, and while that was going on, it stood up. Bro, run. He was terrified. That ghost was just moving like a ghost, and at least knowing how horror games go, he ran away. Which is the right choice, I agree. The game then showed the screen of him picking choice A. Then the game declared that the choice he chose made the affection level significantly decrease. Oh, did I forget to mention that the game was actually a dating game? Yeah, this man started to try opening his door, but it just wouldn't open, and the ghost was already behind him. The ghost strangled him, and it brought him to the ground. While he was being strangled, the ghost started to cry, asking why he didn't save her, and slowly, it turned into a woman. While that was going on, surprised at what he had just laid his eyes on, Truck-kun was there to start our story. He was run over by Truck-kun and he was reincarnated in another world. Just kidding. He was brought to the past, feeling the excruciating pain of being run over. A man tried to check up on him, but he shoved him away, scared. He was absolutely mortified. While questioning his life, he looked back at his phone and it said he died and returned to the most recently saved point. If he wanted to get out of the ongoing date, he needed to leave the area. Stupidly enough, he ran away and went back to the same exact road, trying to tell himself that it was all just a hallucination. But then the GPS said the same exact thing again, telling him to change his route. Then there it is, the same exact ghost from before. Thankfully, he pressed the brake this time and stopped the car before hitting her again. Then he started to curse his life, asking why that was happening to him and what he was even supposed to do. Well, you clicked the link and downloaded it. From a guy that hasn't been in contact for 1 whole month. His phone rang, and that brought him back to reality. Though it was unrealistic, it was still a game. He's played many, so he picked up his phone and looked at the available choices. It was different from before now. Now he just needs to choose the correct one, like a dating game. It shouldn't be that that hard. He didn't have enough time. The ghost started to barge through his car window. He was so terrified. I mean, I would be too like, please chill. Doyon composed himself and hardened his resolve. He left the car with an umbrella and covered the ghost with it, asking her to come in, offering to take her home. He did it. He's scared as fuck, but he did it. The ghost came close to him and asked if he can see her. He was a little confused, but he said yes, and that was the seal to everything. The ghost jumped on him and they both fell on the road. She was absolutely crying, and oh my goodness, he landed a jackpot. After seeing her beautiful human face, he finally calmed down. Then he pushed her away, telling her that he might get sick from being too drenched in the rain. I mean, this MC is truly something. No one would want to push that away from sitting on them. I know you guys won't want that. Anyway, they went inside the car, and Doyon tried to close the door from her side, and he slipped from fear, and well, did the classic falling on her lap accidentally. I mean, she doesn't look like she will kill though. Then she asked if that was the reason she was brought there, but Doyon immediately tried to plead his case. It was just an accident. He continued to try and keep explaining himself, going so far as to explain his whole life story, and after seeing her still terrified, he finally stopped and just asked if it was okay for them to move, because being in the middle of the road was dangerous. She just stared at him, and he immediately folded, saying if she didn't want, they could just stay there then. Well, being an awkward nerd worked another time, and the ghost laughed. She felt relieved that the first person she met wasn't a weirdo. I mean, if nerds aren't weirdos these days, that's good. She introduced herself as Hyeon. Now, while on the road, Hyeon struck up a conversation. She thanked Doyon for offering to take her home, which Doyon replied that it was fine, but we all know it was cause he was terrified. Haeyeon felt strange. She never thought she would be able to talk to someone again after so long. She had already given up hope. Curious and concerned, Doyon asked if she could tell him what had happened to her, why she was on the road. He immediately backed off, saying if it was too much, she could just not say anything. She didn't mind though. After a short pause, she replied that she didn't know either. She was kidnapped by a man she's never seen before, and when she woke up, she was on the highway. Wow, that sounds terrible. But at that point, she didn't know she was dead yet, so she just ran along the road, trying to run away from the man, but no matter how many times she tried to ask for help, no one was able to see or hear her. That's when she realized she had died. When Doyon first spoke to her, she couldn't believe it. It was the first time someone was able to see her. She apologized for crying. She was a little embarrassed and stopped there. Doyon's face was so concerned. Please look at the road. Sorry, was just trying to brighten the mood. But here's her smile to do that. She was so happy she was finally going to see her family again. Doyon was skeptical. He didn't know what to say. What could he do? Comfort a dead person, so he asked what if her family can't see her anymore. She just requested to stay a bit longer then. If it was okay for him to relay her words to them. I can see the despair in those eyes. Even Doyon knew just how sad that was. He was starting to doubt if it really was just a game. It felt so real. He had so many questions, but for the very least, he wished to have her see her parents at least one last time. His phone then gave a notification that the date had ended. Hyeyeon was disappearing into the sun. It seemed that every time it was morning, she always just wakes up at night in the same location every single time. While trembling, she selfishly asked if he could help her again, and then she was cut off by Doyon, saying that he'll be at his parents' house until tomorrow, so he had some time. At the same time and place, he asked if he could meet her there again. She was so touched she could only smile and looked forward to it. She disappeared and the game sent some notifications. He gained some points from the B- rating and a shop finally opened. After such a long ride, looking at the game again felt surreal. He couldn't believe it was actually a game. Instead of fear, he was now just full of questions. That's when the guy who sent the link finally responded and told him to come over, but the number was still once again not contactable. He arrived at his place, the door was just completely open and everything was a mess. It felt completely abandoned and the guy wasn't even there. On his walls there were a lot of different things, as if he was a detective. Haeyeon was also there on his desk, the case of her death. Then behind him, there was another ghost, and she doesn't feel friendly this time. Doyon, run. This girl ain't salvageable. Anyway, he was still looking at the poster of Haeyeon, and he even picked up the other posters, realizing that he has heard of some of them on the news before. He started to form some theory on what was going on. Then he picked up a diary book. When he opened it, he wasn't ready for what was inside. Ghosts appear where they died, and you cannot delete the game whatsoever. His friend was also a player. Well, I guess not such a surprise for us. We knew it day one. Finally, the other ghost revealed herself. She started to sing a song, and even his game was warning him to run because bro, run. Well, he was too late. The room exploded and he died. He returned to when he was inside the parking lot of his friend's apartment. He went outside of the car for a breather, thinking about everything. He was now 2 hearts down. If those hearts disappear, he will truly die. The moment he remembered Hyeon, he gripped himself to keep going. He went over to Hyeon's house, but he heard from a passing citizen that the previous owners had moved over a year ago. He asked for any contact or if she knew where they moved to, but she didn't know. She advised him not to continue as they finally started fresh again after getting over the death of their daughter. His mom called over again about him coming over, but he had something better to do, so his mom just yelled at him. When he saw a poster of Hyeon, he had to hang up on his mom again, promising her he'll come tomorrow. He picked up the missing person poster. It seems they didn't even know she had died. He went back to his car and sighed in exhaustion for not getting any progress done the entire day. Cut to Hyeon at night already. Whenever a car came, she tried to stop them over, thinking it was Doyeon, but it wasn't. She was a little disappointed each time, but she stayed optimistic, believing in Doyeon. Time passed by and it started to rain. Poor Hyeon is just here, hunched back under the rain. Poor Hyeon. Then here's our MC coming late, as the trademark of main characters. He told her he woke up late due to the alarm not working. Hyeon did the very cute head tap on his chest, telling him she thought he wasn't coming. Doyeon apologized, telling her he will come earlier next time. Men and their excuses. Doyeon told her that he went over to her house earlier. She was so happy and excited, asking about how her family's doing, but her face dropped when Doyeon told her they had moved over a year ago already. Doyeon suggested to go to a convenience store nearby and talk over there. They can try contacting her parents directly, or even the police. At least try everything they can first. He promised her that he will help her. Then she asked him an important question. Why was he even helping her in the first place? He can't really say it was due to the game, so when he was about to talk, the game stopped him, showing 2 dialogue options, which he didn't choose in time, so it naturally came out of his mouth that she was his type. She was 100% weirded out, asking if it was a ghost fetish or some kind. Does that even exist? Now embarrassed as fuck, he just defended himself by saying that when he saw a beautiful person crying, he wanted to help, which is still a little weird, cause like, she is wondering where they are currently. Based on what he said, they shouldn't be at a motel. Well, it was all due to the GPS. GPS is the wingman all of us needs. They arrived at the hotel and parked there. But thankfully, he came clutch as there was a convenience store there. Hyeon needlessly apologized at her assumptions. She just had to make sure. Well, you don't need to. Doyeon's just a normal, innocent boy. Well, it's not like she didn't expect it. Some people help others for something in return, and he did help her a lot. Without him, she'll still be on the road. Doyeon immediately defended himself that he wasn't like that, but Hyeon's just kidding. She understands he didn't really look like that type of person. Well, either way, the convenience store was closed, so that was useless, which leaves us to one place, as Hyeon suggested. Hyeon jumped straight on the bed, so happy to finally feel one for more than a year of agony. She did come here just for the bed after all. Imagine the difference between asphalt and a bed. It's more than heaven and hell, I at least know for sure. She really missed the bed. It was better than anything she's experienced on that road. Then she sat up and asked Doyeon to come lie down too, but he rejected acting pussy. We know you're holding it in hard, bro. To contain himself, he sidetracked on what he found on his friend's apartment about ghosts, and then placed her missing person poster on the bed. The resident said she went missing 2 years ago, which wow, poor Hyeon. She really is considered missing though, as even when he called a help center, she was still considered missing, not dead. So he asked her what really happened. It was just a normal night going home from her part-time job. Then she got hit by a drunk dude. She was bleeding on the ground, and instead of calling for help, the drunk dude grabbed her corpse and placed it on his car. The only thing she can remember was a rose tattoo on the back of the guy's hand. The last memory of hers was in an abandoned warehouse. She doesn't remember anything else other than that. Doyeon asked if she knew the person, but she didn't. Let's be real here. That was just a drunk dude that didn't want a criminal case. Doyeon got mad hearing that story. He stood up and told her they will look for a warehouse and definitely catch that murderer. Then he asked her about her family's contact info because it wasn't written on the missing person poster. However, she hesitated a bit. A lot of time passed, and what if they don't even want to look for her anymore? What if she only makes them suffer? Doyeon reassured her that it won't be the case. They did a lot to look for her, and they moved away because they couldn't bear remembering her so much in that home. They definitely miss her, guaranteed, and even if they don't go as planned, he will still help her. Haeyeon thanked him wholeheartedly. This MC is a very good guy. They searched up the number of her father, and it actually popped up. Haeyeon wanted to see it too and stretched near, but these things got to happen. She fell on the MC, and there is just some weird-ass light on the background. The two just stared at each other. Doyeon was starstruck at her beauty. Haeyeon asked what that look was for, and Doyeon definitely just fell in love. Then she asked if he really got excited. Well, I mean, you're the best one who can tell from the feeling. Doyeon grabbed her head and he stood up. He left her alone in the room as he went to take a shower. Haeyeon just jumped on the bed again, and while curled up, she wished morning would just never come. While in the bath, just look at this guy blushing hard, and something else was definitely hard. Anyway, back to Haeyeon. She started to hear Doyeon's phone ring. She went over to it, and it was his friend, the one that sent him the game. Cut to him so you get scared. He is frantically trying to call him, begging for him to pick up. Just look at him, so terrified and malnourished. I meant, what was he so scared of? This? That's just some spider that looks like a corpse and is talking. Like, look, she's the spider queen and her kids are just on her. She even asking him to go on a date, so he shouldn't be running away. So cute and wholesome. When Doyeon got out, he tried to contact him again, but as always, no signal. Well, he is probably on a date, so he turned on Do Not Disturb. When it was time to sleep, Haeyeon was on bed, asking if Doyeon really didn't want to go sleep on the same bed as him. He said that it was okay, since he always sits the whole day. Sleeping on the floor helped with back pain. I agree, it really does. Try it, get a hard bed if you don't want the floor. Anyway, Haeyeon asked if it was okay to ask Doyeon some question, like what kind of work does he do and when did he start seeing goes? Like, is his family a shaman family? He replied that he is just a gaming streamer. He grew up with no connection to this world. She is the first dead person he's seen. Haeyeon was intrigued, and then she lowered her head, muttering to herself, so I'm your first. Like, girl, what? I feel the sweetness in my non-existent heart. Then she went on to wanting to see Doyeon's apartment, his gaming setup, and everything. Well, Doyeon's embarrassed as it was, just a small and messy apartment, which makes her want to go there more. He went on to say that after her business is over, then he will gladly invite her over. This made her so excited to finally visit a guy's apartment for the first time. They talked till the sun came up, then she asked if can ask one more thing, but before she can utter her question, Doyeon sat up and she was gone. I know it's horror, but it's romance too, and my heart can feel the fear and sweetness. The date ended, the game gave him his rating and points. To him it felt disgusted, as if those connections were truly just a game, not even real. As planned, he was finally back to his parents' place. The moment he got in, he was in fear of his father. He awkwardly asked how he was doing, but he was just ignored. Then there was his mom. At least she welcomed him while eating breakfast. His father was just talking to his older brother about how his life of becoming a doctor was going, while he was just eating. As the disappointment of a son he was, I feel you, bro. I really do. Her mom then went on to stop his father from pressuring his older brother. Then she went on to ask how Doyeon was doing these days, which surprised him. He awkwardly said that he was okay while looking at his father. 3 years ago, he ran away from this house, and he knew he had no right to return. After that, he just went on to leave. His brother asked where he was going to go, and he just answered that he was going to the convenience store. His brother told him that it was time to stop this facade, and he just yelled back that he will handle it on his own. When he walked out of the house, he got a reply from Haeyeon's father telling him to just leave his family alone, and he was sick of those type of contact. He then bought a shovel, staring at it after knowing he is running out of money fast, but he still continued. It was last night that he finally looked at the store and bought a clue from there. After searching for a warehouse, he finally found this that matched her description, where Haeyeon was probably buried. He got a single picture as a clue from the item, a tree with a hole in it. Well, even if it was a big forest, he was determined to still dig until the sun has set. After so long, he was exhausted, finding that tree was harder than he thought. He was starting to doubt his decisions and wanted to just give up. That's when he tripped, and while on the ground, he really just thought of giving up. He couldn't feel his legs anymore. Then he remembered her crying face, and it gave him the strength to stand up. That was when, after a while, he finally found it. The same exact tree. He started to dig, thinking to himself what he was doing for someone he just met 2 days ago. As he continued, his face was mortified. He found it. He started to dig with his own hands. It was Haeyeon's corpse, now just a skeleton. He was about to cry. He just didn't want to see her cry. He knew it, but he didn't want to believe it. Suddenly, Haeyeon appeared, and her appearance was different. It was just sudden. She just woke up like that. Her clothes completely fine. But that aside, she saw Doyeon completely in a mess. She went over to him to ask if something happened. Not wanting her to see anything, she tried to make her go away, but that was not going to work. She saw it, and her face grimed. Her own dead body buried in the ground. Doyeon was in a state of panic. She was a little confused on how she suddenly appeared in a forest, but she reassured Doyeon that it was okay. She already knew she was dead, so he shouldn't make that face. It wasn't your fault. Doyeon crying will only make her heart hurt more, you know. After that, he called the police, and they arrived to inspect the body. Doyeon was with some officers being just waiting on standby. The detective then appeared to ask him some questions. The way he found the body was a little suspicious, and Doyeon was scared of that suspicion. In the detective's line of work, such a story and coincidence is unimaginable. Cornered, Doyeon was so scared and stressed. He was being accused of a crime he didn't commit. Then he told him he just felt bad for Haeyeon. The detective replied that they haven't identified the body yet, though. Then he joked if the dead victim told him her name too, which is true, detective. He was debating showing him the game, but he might just be called crazy, while invisible Haeyeon was trying to protect Doyeon, but of course that won't help at all. Then Haeyeon's father appeared before Doyeon could speak. He hurried over due to his call from earlier, telling him that he found Haeyeon's body. He told him that his daughter was with him, so he grabbed onto him, begging to see his daughter. Then he said that Haeyeon was right next to him. The detective was so out of the bullshit, he tried to take charge of the conversation and split the two apart. Then there's Haeyeon standing before his dad, telling him her suffering without him hearing anything. She walked for 2 years, knowing her family would worry for her. She couldn't die for them, because her dad couldn't see her. She was transforming into a vengeful spirit once again, her eyes bleeding blood. Then Doyeon came in clutch with the hand holding, which calmed her quickly. He told her dad that she was still right here. Then he looked at the detective to tell him, yes, the victim did tell her name to him. He told him that he found her while driving in a highway. It was his first experience and was so terrified he wanted to run away. But then he saw her crying. Please help me, she said. Don't leave me alone. Her name is Haeyeon. He just wanted to help her. That's why he came all the way here. He doesn't know if any of them would believe him, but he can see dead people. The detective still tried to dismiss it, but Haeyeon's dad completely believed in the hope. Doyeon said that she was just right here beside him. Then he pulled out a stuffed toy. It was a doll she loved ever since she grew up. He always carried it with him ever since she disappeared, believing she would come back someday. So if she really was there, ask her the name of the doll. Then suddenly the doll floated, and Doyeon replied with Manya. That was the name of the doll. Wait a second, I'm crying. Let's take a break, guys. Okay, we all good? Let's continue. After a bit of interrogation in the police department, he was finally done. Haeyeon and her father was waiting outside for him. The two of them went to a bench, and he really was thanking him over and over again and wanting to pay him back. Doyeon was just humbly saying that he did it because he wanted to. No need for any repayment. He went on to tell him about Haeyeon. She was a diligent child, born under a worthless father who only suffered hardships. She couldn't even close her eyes in peace. It was tearing his heart apart. Then he asked what will happen to his daughter now. Doyeon asked the dad if it was okay for Haeyeon to relay a message through him. He agreed.
I'm okay. I was worried about my dad and my younger sibling, who would be left behind if I disappeared. It's obvious what our family would be like without me. I at least want to say a final goodbye so Dad won't keep looking for me. But I'm still glad. I'm glad that Dad somehow overcame it and persevered. If he keeps persevering and thinks of her from time to time, that will be enough. Thank you. I was happy to be Dad's daughter. They say there's no greater disrespect than passing away before your parents. I'm sorry for leaving first. If I'm reborn, would it be okay to be born as Dad's daughter again?
Then he replied that he too was happy to be her daughter's father. After all of that, Doyeon was just sitting there speechless when the game notified him that she was unable to ascend due to lingering attachments. Whether he stays with her is entirely his choice. So, Doyeon, would you like to date Haeyeon? Because she doesn't want to go just like that. Doyeon was caught up by the moment, and so he did exactly what his heart said. He brought up the conversation of her wanting to go back to his apartment. They also still need to catch the culprit. That takes time, and all he's trying to say really is that he still needs her help. She said she didn't want to go yet either, so he bowed and yelled at the top of his lungs, asking if she would like to go home with him. She replied she'd love to. Damn, this relationship be moving fast. Now back at Doyeon's apartment. Like, this is real. He warned Haeyeon that his apartment was kind of small and messy, so it was a little worrying, but Yeon was okay with it. Their old house was like that too. So just like that, they arrived. She entered first and greeting the air like she was meeting his family. She went around to glance at a bit of everything, and it didn't really seem all that messy to her. Now she's in his care. Currently, the two are grunting. Well, because Haeyeon was trying to open the door on her own. Don't forget she is a ghost. Finally, she succeeded at opening the door, and because she used too much force, she launched headfirst to the wall. Doyeon asked if she was okay, but she didn't care about that. She was just so happy to open the door. She can't really lift anything, but with enough practice, she might be able to cook or something. Doyeon was just surprised that the ghost in front of him can't phase through walls and things like ghosts in other fictions. Well, either way, she might want to help around the house and all. But Doyeon can handle everything on his own, he told her. Well, Haeyeon can't really accept that because she really wants to help. I mean, he always just eats cup noodles anyway. Doyeon appreciates the thought, but it might need a bit more time. He told her that she shouldn't push herself at all and just tell him if she ever needs anything. Her family is far from here, and he is the only one that can see her, so she doesn't need to feel pressured. She just needs to make herself at home, and if anything gets too hard, they can figure it out together. She understands. Well, then that came a revelation. Was this now actually her new home? She now only realized she basically moved in with her. They are now actually living together. Back to Doyeon's thoughts. He was just thinking about how Haeyeon's body isn't disappearing anymore, and it seems she is now, for the lack of a better word, stable. Her father told him that he had things to do, but was definitely going to come back with Haeyeon's sister. He also kept pushing on repaying Doyeon back for the huge favor. He kept saying no, but he just forced it on his hand, giving him all the cash in his wallet. Well, now that he was home, he can finally breathe a little now. He was still a little worried about his friend, but there was nothing he can do right now. The game hasn't really moved forward either. What he is really worried about now is his living expenses. He also still has to go back to the police station, so that takes more time out of him. He will need to work twice as had to make up for the 2-day break. He told Haeyeon that he was going to stream again tonight and was going to take just a short nap for now and asked what she was going to do. So then he took some extra bedding and went to the kitchen to sleep there, leaving Haeyeon in the bed as she told him that she can't let him sleep there, but he didn't mind and just said goodnight. He also left the door a little open just for a little consideration to Haeyeon. She was just smitten by Doyeon's kindness and the warmth of a normal bed. It was cozy. She then reminisced her teenage years, hanging out with friends. Green Girl was ranting about his boyfriend yelling at her, so then Orange Girl asked why she would even date someone like that. She should speak up at times. Then while sipping peacefully, Haeyeon was asked about that guy who liked her. She turned him down. She didn't really find it as a good match. The two just went on as to why. He was totally handsome, they say, and even rich. Then she just went on to how she still has a lot of things to do, like school and work. She needs scholarship, and her little sister just started school. She wanted to fall in love too, but was just too far in reach right now. So she made a bucket list, and someday, maybe it would be her turn too when she gets a little more breathing room. But now, look at her. She's dead, and all those efforts are gone. Then she saw something in the shelves. It was yearbook, and she wanted to see it. So she went to Doyeon to see if he was still awake. She sat down, and we go back to the flashback when her friends are asking her what she looks for in a man. She answered that maybe someone kind of dorky, no female friends, some decent muscle, doesn't know how to dress up Bet when he does. He looks good, innocent, but not dumb, sweet only to her, someone kind, someone she can lean on. The two were just sighing, as if someone like that can exist. It would be easier to find a unicorn than finding that, the Green Girl said. Back to reality, and she utters to herself that it looks like she found a unicorn. She pushed his bangs up a little and his head moved, uttering to herself that he looks better with those up. She once again thanked him for saving her and rested on the floor beside him. Then suddenly his arms wrapped around her and he moved closer. She was absolutely flustered. She tried to go away, but he grabbed her arm. Then he talked in his sleep, begging her not to go, then uttering a different woman's name, Hyo-jung. Look at Hayeon. She looks totally disappointed. Cut to later, Doyeon was crying over a dating sim game's ending. His chat was absolutely frying him for crying, but he defended himself by saying he just yawned. Then someone donated asking if he was trying to learn romance from dating sim games, which he refused. Hayeon was just there on bed watching him, intrigued at the side of Doyeon that he hasn't seen yet before. After all, they hadn't really had the time to talk much about each other because, you know, when characters drive a car and it's off screen, no dialogue happens at all, no matter how long the drive. Anyway, that aside, Hayeon wanted to know what kind of student Doyeon was and who Kan Hyo-jung was. Finally, Doyeon ended his stream, and afterwards he apologized if the stream was a bit noisy. Hayeon replied that it was okay. She enjoyed the stream. The way he cried at the end was cute too, but he denied it. He told her that he still has some editing to do, so might work until late, and asked if that was okay. Of course it was okay with her. She'll manage. He then changed his mind and told her that he will finish up the editing faster this time and they can go outside later for fresh air. So he asked where she wanted to go. She replied that she was good right there. So he took the reason and told her that he just felt a bit cramped and she'll go with him, right? So then she told him that she wanted to go see the night sea. It was on her bucket list and she had wanted to go there for a long time. He then went on to his phone to look for beaches, but then the game forced options at him once again. This once again reminded him that this was a game, that it was a dating sim game, just that the characters are dead people, and if you make a mistake, you die yourself. He has been following the game choices like it was a game, but this wasn't a game, it was reality. Deep in thought, Hayeon went over to check up on him for being so focused and quiet. He apologized and told her she should look troubled. He was just thinking about where to go, and it was better to look it up first, right? Then suddenly, because he didn't pick a choice, the game picked for him, and the words that went out of his mouth was just a compromise of going to a water reservoir instead of the sea because she just wanted to see water right, which was insanely insensitive, and he blocked his mouth as soon as it stopped. He told her he didn't mean that at all, and she looked incredibly disappointed. The game even alerted that her affection dropped, but she knew that it was too much to ask either way, and it was okay for her. They arrived at the location and she was incredibly happy to be there. It was much better and prettier than she expected. He apologized that it was not the beach, but it was okay for her. It was closer and she shouldn't take much of his time too. So now that they are here, she suggested to just walk together for a bit. Doyeon was completely taken aback about the game picking the choice for him, which still made him scared that if it was game, what happens when it's over? While walking, Hayeon asked how old Doyeon was. He was 24 years old, older than her, but she did die 2 years ago, so she was actually now 24 too. So she was now thinking of how to refer to him, but he just told her that nothing should change. It's good the way it was already. Then Doyeon went on to ask what Hayeon used to do before. Then she replied, throwing the question to her, asking him what he thinks she did before, which obviously he answered it was a college student. Then she just teased him about the obvious answer. Then she mentioned that she was actually a top student on scholarships, which to Doyeon didn't really look like it. It offended her a bit, but for him, the atmosphere just didn't seem right. He said she was just so pretty that it didn't seem like it. Then she teased him if he charmed girls with that innocent look of him all the time. He was taken aback, asking about what charming is she talking about. He was just thinking that she was just truly pretty. Then she mentioned the hug from last night, and he blushed, saying he was just sleep talking that time. She just continued to make fun of him about that. Look at that view, it looked so good and relaxing. She might have showed up randomly to his life, but he felt okay with it. The joy of being with someone gave a sense of relief. He was starting to think that maybe downloading the game was actually a good thing. Everybody, you know it. That's a death flag. Hayeon tried to ask about the woman he talked about in his sleep. Then thunder struck down from the sky and Hayeon immediately disappeared from his sight. He tried looking for her, yelling her name, thinking if she ran away cause of the thunder. But when he looked back on his phone, you know it, it's a new date encounter. This time it was a moving head that jumped on the pier. Doyeon, still not used to it, immediately fell on the ground in fear, and behind him was the body of that moving head. This dating game isn't a good thing, and it's only begun. As a normal human reaction, Doyeon tumbled over, and currently Hayeon was there beside him too, worrying. She's telling him that she was just right there. Then the moment she tried to touch him, she passed through. That exact moment broke her. Does he not even see her anymore? Beside Doyeon, the head was just right there on his hand. He looked at it and you can see just how much he is shaking. When it get much closer to touch him, Doyon punched the head away, then he ran as fast as possible. It was too much for a coward like him to handle, because the game does say you can leave the area if you don't want to date. He tried to leave as soon as possible. He will find Heian after he escapes, but the head grabbed his feet and he tripped down. Because he punched the head, it was now very hostile to him. It was out for his life. He was dragged by the head completely helpless, and then the head jumped into the water. He tried to remove the hair tied to his feet, but he drowned faster than he could untie. He slowly lost his sense of self. Even if he knew he was surrounded by water, he couldn't help but breathe. He could only wish to die faster. He kept praying for that. So it did happen. He died, and he was brought back to the exact point the ghost appeared before him. He can't even escape. Now he started to believe that the game really wasn't a good decision. Characters can just pop out at any moment. He picked up his phone again, and choices appeared before him. He understood now that running away won't do anything. He needs to talk to the ghost. That was the only solution. But which part? Well, obviously he went for the head. He told it that he wasn't a suspicious person. He doesn't know the full story, but he asked if he can help. He looked as scared as when he first talked to Heian. It tried talking to him, but its mouth was covered by a weird piece of fabric, and so nothing but gibberish comes out. Doyon wondered if taking the tape out was okay. Well, not like he had a choice, so he did. Then he asked if the head was okay. The phone started to give options again the moment the head literally just stopped moving. So as one of the options, he picked up the head, and while doing so, his kind heart finally regained itself, and he just worried what this person must have went through. He placed the head back on the body, and that successfully improved the affection of the ghost. She slowly returned back to normal, of course, and she was now able to speak. She pleaded to the MC. She wanted him to get her out of there. The sun rose exactly at that coincidental moment, and the ghost disappeared. The date was completed, and it just felt disgusting and uneasy once again. Behind him, Heian just stood there, her eyes looking like she was about to murder from jealousy. When Heian failed to touch Doyon, she kept trying but to no avail. Then she witnessed as Doyon talked to another person. To her, it was just a single blob of black. She wondered what it was, and that's where she realized she really was dead. She walked that road for 2 whole years, losing herself. It was Doyon that saved her, gave her happiness. She was eternally grateful, but now she is no longer visible. She wasn't even able to say her farewell or anything. Then she saw Doyon with that huge black energy. She tried to stop him, yelling as hard as she could, but she was just like that too. She was also a ghost. If she wanted that ghost gone, she should just disappear too. Suddenly, Doyon was finally able to see her again. He immediately grabbed her and kept asking her questions on where she went. He thought she disappeared completely. He asked why she was crying and if she was okay. She did want to just disappear, but she wanted to be greedy. She asked Doyon if he isn't scared of her. Well, he wasn't scared at all. He was more scared when she wasn't right beside him. Should he be scared of her? Well, it wasn't exactly like that. She said it was because she was dead, and Doyon has a life. Was it really okay for her to be by his side? If she was a burden, which she knows she is, she can just do it all on her own without causing him any trouble. But he reassured her that he needs her. He can't explain that it was due to the game, but he needed her to solve his ghostly problems. Well, it seems like the two of them had a lot to say, so they should talk as they get back. Heian knew she was being greedy, but she wanted to have something when she doesn't even have a life. Now there is this random otter here. Why? I don't know. From all the chapters I've read, it's just a random animal. Anyway, onto the usual off-screen car ride. Doyon had explained to Heian everything that had happened. He asked if she didn't see her too, but all she could see at that time was a lump of darkness. Then she asked if he wasn't scared. She was afraid, and she was also dead. He told her that it was only natural to be scared when a bizarre head is crawling around, but when he tried to run away when there's a body without a head behind him, he was also worried about Heian mostly. If she suddenly appeared on the highway once again, seeing her again gave him such a relief. Look at our girl, twisting her hair. Then she brought out about him needing her help. She asked about it again. He just answered that he can't really tell her anything right now. He will when there's a chance. While driving recklessly, not looking on the road, this man never learns. He thought about the girl from earlier, her body wrapped around with tape and a severed head and torso. She was clearly mutilated and thrown in the river, which made him remember about some recent murder news lately. He was being scared of actually being associated with something like that. However, he can't turn back on someone that asked him for help. It was too much for him to just think that they would be more miserable, but he can't even manage his own life right now. That's when Hye-yeon, if the reason he is lost in thought was about the ghost from earlier, she told him that he really was too kind for his own good. It's a personality that tends to harm himself. Do-yeon doesn't even seem to know himself, but absolutely, who would worry so much about a ghost that just suddenly appeared? She told him it was okay to just not to do what he doesn't want to. What's important is taking care of himself. It may come strange from someone that he saved, but he shouldn't shoulder everything alone. He should be a little more honest with his feelings. Well, for Do-yeon, he does just genuinely want to help. He still had life points left, so if he can help someone, he'd be happy to. He's just hoping that if there's a god, that god can help him. Then comedic timing cut away to home, and his landlord is telling him that the rent has gone up. Yeah, there's no god in this world. Do-yeon tried to negotiate against it because the increase was just too much, but the lord just told him that things are just increasing in prices and she can't do anything about it. Because she feels sorry for him, the payment for this month can be paid on original price, but next month it has to be the increased one or he has to go move out. Hye-yeon was clearly mad too, but her madness is just more like a squirrel trying to talk. Do-yeon, on the other hand, is just terrified he might get kicked out. Do-yeon immediately went on to try and contact some online editing jobs. Hye-yeon offered that he should call her that and ask for the money that Hye-yeon had saved up, but he doesn't want that. It was his apartment, he's managed until now, he can do it. He went out a bit to go to the convenience store. Hye-yeon knew she was completely useless. He bought 3 cup noodles and 1 instant rice. He looked at his bank account and it seems like he still has some money that can manage for just this month. He was even thinking of contacting his mother, but ever since an incident before that involved the police and this girl named Hyo-jung, he just doesn't feel like he can ever ask for help at all. It's okay if it really came down to it. He will just take on a part-time day job. Skipping over a bit, Do-yeon's just about to finish his stream for the day. Ho-yeon was at the kitchen, staring at the 1 cup noodle that Do-yeon eats in a day. At this rate, he was gonna break down. She just wished there was something she can really help with. She tried to lift the pan up once again, and after a bit of force, she did, but then she got excited and the pan dropped once again. She's wondering if it was dependent on weight or focus. If only she had a body, she grieved. If only she was still alive. She then slapped her face before she got depression. She just needs practice. Cut to Do-yeon. While he was on his stream, he was just chatting with his viewers a bit, and then one asked if he heard about the buried body in the news. He wondered if it was what he was thinking, and when he went to search for it, it really was. It was the body of Hye-yeon. The chat's going on about how the body was found due to some person that can see ghosts or something. Do-yeon was absolutely shocked about the many articles about the exact topic. He was only questioned about an hour, and no such conversation about speaking with ghosts ever came up. He was worried that if the articles kept going, what if he is wrongly imprisoned? Then Hye-yeon suddenly appeared, yelling that she was able to possess her stuffed toy. Then she realized that Hye-yeon was still streaming, so she immediately did the classic "I'm a doll," then fell as if she really was just a doll. Do-yeon immediately panicked and turned off his stream. Hye-yeon once again stood up and asked what they were going to do. She messed up. She apologized. She didn't mean for that to happen. She just wanted to be of help. Instead of being mad or sad, Do-yeon laughed instead. He asked how it even happened. He said it was so funny how she looked right now. Hye-yeon just felt more guilty at his reaction. Do-yeon said that he was so wrapped up in his own worries all alone. He didn't realize he had such a dependable ally beside him, so Do-yeon asked Hye-yeon for help for the first time, and of course she agreed in a non-existent heartbeat. They were outside in the rain. They are currently going to the ghost from before. Even if it was raining, it made Do-yeon want to go there more. He just can't help being overly concerned. He told Hye-yeon that she can just stay home, but then she grabbed onto her arm and told him that she doesn't want to get wet. Then she offered that they should just go to the car and sit there. The MC blushed and just agreed. Then Hye-yeon asked if the ghost he was going to meet today was pretty. Cut to this ominous underwear guy drinking wine while overlooking the bustling city. His probably right-hand man entered and delivered information about Do-yeon and how he must have known about the body due to the ghost talking thing. If it wasn't obvious, this guy is the one that killed Hye-yeon. While on the way, Hye-yeon was just reminded of the time they first met each other. A rainy day on the road. At first, she just thought it was a dream. When she was on her limit, Do-yeon came to save her. So she understands that the other ghost probably needs him just as much as she did. He just had to make sure he doesn't overdo it. Do-yeon then went on to saying that he was lucky to have Hye-yeon as the first ghost he met. The first meeting was a bit chilly, but now he would feel empty without her. Look at her, blushing so much. Then she asked him again how the ghost looked like if she was pretty. Then she pouted, saying he brushed it off when she asked earlier. He ignored it again. Then Heian added honorifics to his name, and he folded instantly. He said that she was the most beautiful person he's ever seen, and she absolutely loved that answer. Heian kept on smirking and giggling about that. Anyway, Doyeon contacted Heian's father once again just so if he ever needed assistance. He also had items he can buy when he needs them. With the LP he's been accumulating with the dates, he can buy everything on the shop available right now. He even thought about a live broadcast, all of this just so he doesn't die. Then they finally arrived at the reservoir. The two went down the stairs while Heian was clutched to Doyeon. She was worried about him, but Doyeon replied that he has been practicing the simulation of the scenario, so she shouldn't worry. She understands how much she has been tormenting, yet she selfishly hopes he never realizes that. Now that he's made up his mind, he needs to be confident. Heian told him that they should go now, because if they didn't, Doyeon wouldn't stop thinking about it. Then she went back to ask if it was okay to turn back now. Then thunder struck, and Heian disappeared again. The date had begun. Doyeon walked on the pier, walking up to the severed body in front of him. He greeted the body and asked if she remembered him. They met yesterday. He told her that it seemed she needed his help, so can she tell him what's going on? The lack of reaction just scared Doyeon so much, but then he realized that her head was actually gone, so he asked where it was. Then it pointed at a direction, and the head appeared over there. He tried to walk over to the head, walking slowly, asking it questions, but the head moved its distance further. He asked the body if it could hold the umbrella for a moment, and he went closer to the head, but it just kept hiding away, even if he mentions he wasn't a bad person. The moment that the head had nowhere to go, the game finally gave Doyeon choices on what to say, but then suddenly a penalty appeared and the choices were changed on its own. He was given all horrible choices. All of them are all so mean, but he didn't have a choice, so he just had to pick one. He walked back to the body, leaving the head alone. Then he grabbed onto her waist and told her that if she doesn't come, he could just take her body away with him. If she doesn't, she can come. But if she doesn't, what can he do? Just the body won't be too bad either. The ghost was shocked. Even I am too. The MC chose harassment. The moment the auto dialogue ended, Doyeon was so embarrassed. He wanted to patch up things with the ghost immediately, so he folded under death's pressure and said that it was just a joke to lighten the mood and let go of the body. The ghost felt embarrassed and her affection rating increased. She slowly scooted her head on the floor. Then he was finally able to put the head on the body. He then asked her if she was alright. The moment she was allowed to talk, she called him trash. Look at MC, you absolutely knew you deserved that. The girl was worried about what was going to happen now. This confused Doyeon on what she meant by that. Then she went on to talk about what Doyeon told her earlier, about the body being enough, so that might be the condition for helping her. He immediately panicked and threw the umbrella on the ground, saying he just wanted to lighten the mood and genuinely wanted to help her. Then she went to saying that it was okay. She knew nothing was no such thing as an act of kindness without a reason. She'll do whatever she wants him to do. She just wants to get out of there. Instead of immediately correcting himself, he just got mad, wondering what happened to her to even just accept such things so easily. Doyeon just went on to say that the moment he heard she needed help, he's been worried constantly. He'll her as much as he can, so she shouldn't worry. After picking up the umbrella, he went to ask what happened and why she kept avoiding him. Only what she can share, of course. She thought that he might run away, seeing just a piece of head. It looked disgusting. If someone came only to run away, she would have lost it for real. She was just too scared. Doyeon realized that must have been why she dragged him last time, because him running away was her limit, so he said sorry to her. The girl asked what he was sorry for, and he just dismissed it as it was a mistake from a past run. Anyway, Doyeon introduced himself, and so did the girl. Her name is Si-Yun Kang. Let's just call her Se-Yun. It's easier. Doyeon reassured her that he isn't doing this to get something out of her. He promised. He'll get her out of here, so she shouldn't be scared of him anymore. That's all he's asking of her. She asked again if she can truly trust him. Doyeon replied that he may not look trustworthy and he isn't something special, but he won't break a promise. Then she immediately leaned on him and began to cry. Well, the MC bagged another one. Then out of nowhere, he wiped her one single drop of tear that stayed for supernatural reasons, and she blushed so hard I think she just fell in love. Doyeon finally suggested that they change the location cause the rain is cold. Doyeon asked if it was okay for him to take off the tape around her. It looked uncomfortable. Well, it is. Like, seriously, that's so weird. He tried to look where the end of the tape was at, and while he was leaning closer, her face just got redder. Then as her face turned into a potato, Doyeon found it, and you wouldn't believe where it was. It was on her chest, so he asked if he should just leave it alone. But she replied that if it was okay for him, it was okay for her. She can't do it herself. But the exact moment he went for her chest to remove the tape, Haeun appeared, asking what was going on. Oh, this game, love how unfair it is. Let's cut to something else first, cause he'll be important later. This police guy is currently looking through Haeun's article cases. Then his coworker arrived to ask him if he wanted to grab coffee. He asked if he was going to pay, but the coworker replied that shouldn't seniors pay? Well, times have changed. While smoking in the rain, the two talked about the Haeun case. Like, why would the reporters suddenly go so crazy about a 2-year-old case with no evidences? It was a completely controversial case. One wrong move and it can cause real trouble. Then his coworker brought up the flying doll case, showing him a very important video on what that doll was. It was Doyeon's stream clip that actually went viral about a doll moving and talking with a female voice. Suddenly he got a call, and it seems that a severed head in a case floated in ashore. Yes, that's Seyun's head. Back to the three, Doyeon introduced Haeun to her as someone he met a few days ago. Then he introduced Seyun to Haeun too. She was a little scared of Haeun, but she still said hello while hiding behind Doyeon. Haeun said hello too, but damn, look at how her eyes are. That's the eyes of a murderer right there. It was an incredibly awkward situation, no matter how you look at it. Doyeon tried to break the ice by asking how old Seyun was. She replied that she was 21. Then she asked the question back to Doyeon. They talked about how he was older than her, and it just made it worse for Haeun. Haeun cut the two off and went in between them, asking if it was just all about removing the tape, cause she can do that herself. It's better. So she did do it, as rough as possible, like she was just clumsy, but we all know this is all jealousy-fueled anger. Doyeon never saw Haeun that scary looking, so that means that was scarier when she was a zombie strangling him. Anyway, he was now on the route of 2 characters to pursue. Normally, you only pick one in dating games. But this isn't just a game to him, it's a way to help ghosts passed on by resolving their regrets, and he can't possibly abandon someone that needs help. He doesn't even want to think about what happens if he just leaves a ghost behind. After the 2 were done, Doyeon asked what happened to Seyun once again. She said that to tell the story, she needs to visit a place first. She asked if he can help her get there first. While in the car, she apologized for the hassle and that she will pay it back somehow. But as always, Doyeon doesn't mind. They were headed to her house, so Haeun asked if they were going to meet her parents. She said no, her only family was her grandma that passed away. That was the only place her grandma left her that she can call home. It's also the place that she died in. Haeun then asked why and what happened there. She was a little hesitant and scared, remembering the scenes that eventually went to her inevitable death. So she just held it off for when they get there. Then she asked the important question. The two seemed really close, so what exactly were their relationship? Haeun got nervous and replied that she wasn't really that sure. Doyeon too didn't really know what to say and just said that they somehow ended up together. That's when his game forced him to give an answer, which will affect the affection of both characters. Man, that's terrifying, cause you'll see later, one wrong move and he dies. Let's cut to the murderer first. She was currently living, stealing Seyun's identity. When she gets asked why she didn't look like that, she gets mad. But like, bro, you ugly as fuck. It doesn't matter where the mole is. You so ugly, even a blind person won't want to look at you. She then left without being able to pay, of course. Oh, and she totally thinks she is that person. She crazy. Done with that break, let's go back to the intense stuff. He can't even pick off choices. He had to decide on a specific short answer on his own. So he got to thinking how what he will say will affect the situation. Brother, you have 9 seconds. You lucky this is fiction. When he was ready to answer, just about to say what he wanted to say, he saw Haeun twirling her hair again. Then she looked down and told Doyeon that he can tell her the truth. So for Doyeon, that he was just an average guy dragged into helping ghosts. That's why he shouldn't care if they like him or not, so he should just be honest. So then he went on an answer that isn't short in any way. He replied that they were anything specific, but he likes being with her. After streaming alone for so long, he forgot what it felt to have someone around. Sure, there were some, but now it felt empty if she wasn't there. It may seem as unexpected for them too to meet him, and he isn't the most dependable person, but he'll figure it out. At the very least, he will make sure to make her smile, and he's gonna try his best to keep that promise. They both looked at Haeyeon, and Doyeon apologized if that was too cheesy, but he explained that it was the only answer he can think of, and that's really how he feels. Then she smirked, saying he was really smooth. Then she finally asked the question she wanted the answer of. Who was Hyo-jeong? He was calling her name in his sleep. She must be so special. Se-yoon was just sitting there in the back, quite sad. It must be nice. What if they had met sooner? Can they be like that too? Haeyeon then got finished to tell her story of how Doyeon saved her. Se-yoon was glad for her, then asked if they caught the killer yet, which is of course not yet. That guy's in the big leagues. Doyeon was glad that the two are able to talk with each other better than he expected. However, he still hasn't made Se-yoon talk about what happened to her. He wants to help her in what made her look so miserable, but he can't help without knowing what happened first. But now that they were close, Doyeon made that as an excuse to ask her if she can tell her story now. He then asked if it was because she think he'll run away after she tells her story, but that wasn't it. It just felt easier to tell when they get there. She was killed by a friend who lived with her. Shocking, right? Yeah, that girl earlier was her friend. One day, an old friend just called her out of the blue. They had been kicked out of their place and asked if she could crash for a few days. They promised to find another place soon, and she just couldn't refuse her. At first, it wasn't so bad. The feeling of having someone again in the house after her grandma passed away felt good. But it didn't last long because she stayed way too long. It turned months, and she just treated the house as her own. It got tense around them. Then one day, while she was drunk, she got really mad at her, and they got into a huge fight. She told her to get out of the house, or she'll call the police, but then she attacked her with a bottle. When she woke up, she was tied in the bathroom. She started to look like a mole rat and started to demand her phone, passwords, bank, everything. She took everything she had, and then just left. The next moment, she woke up at sea as a severed head. She just kept floating until one day she saw her body walking around, and that's when she realized she was dead. Her body was chopped and thrown in the water. She tried her best to leave, but she was always back in the water, and she slowly lost herself in despair. Then Doyeon showed up. She was happy, but also terrified. What if he ran away too? Once they get to her house, she'll give him anything he wants, and she really means everything. After it was all over, she won't bother him again. She begged the MC to please not leave her behind, to just help her at least once. We're done. Heavy, wasn't it? Doyeon reminded her again that he promised to help her, so she will. She doesn't need to be scared at all. He wasn't expecting anything in return in the first place. He just wanted her to find peace at the end of it all. Well, that just made her cry more from happiness. They finally arrived, and Doyeon brought his umbrella to take cover for them too. Se-yoon knew she didn't belong in the life of these two. The only reason he was helping her was because he was just genuinely kind. But she doesn't want to get wet too. Even though she's already dead, can't she be selfish for now? Just this once, then she'll leave. When they arrived at the apartment room, he tried ringing the doorbell, but no one is answering, of course. Se-yoon said that she'll give him the passcode so he can enter. But when he was about to put the passcode, the ominous thunder struck, and she appeared, standing right there. The ugly bastard, Se-yoon's crazy murderer. The moment Se-yoon saw her, her mental state was going insane. Any moment, and she might turn into a monster again. It was because this bitch had the audacity to say that it was her house. And when Doyeon apologized that he might have gotten things mixed up and asked if that was Se-yoon Kang's house, she then went and said that she was Se-yoon Kang, and now she's holding her umbrella like a weapon. He then asked Se-yoon what was going on there. However, Se-yoon was completely out of it. She was raging inside for her to move to her own house after what she did and claim her identity. The house her grandma left for her. She remembered when her grandma died, people were trying to get money out of her that her father scammed people out of and had a huge debt cause of it. Now it seems that if she refused the inheritance of her father's debt, her grandma's apartment would also be lost. She didn't want that, so she stayed. And then she found a letter from her grandma. She apologized for her stupid son, and there was a bank account where she was saving all her money so that when this day came, she can pay back the debt of her father. Even after death, her grandma still cared for her so much, so because of that, she decided to live a life her grandma would be proud of. Then this bitch dare take that from her. The audacity. She immediately began to call the police because of Doyeon. While she was now talking to the police, Doyeon tried to calm her down, but there was someone else he needed to calm down. Se-yoon couldn't believe that she didn't even feel any guilt, and after all she did, she was even ready to forgive her, but now she doesn't plan to. Haeyeon got scared and told Doyeon that they should go. So, based on the game's updates, he realized that that person was probably the friend she was talking about. Well, no shit, bro. It's obvious now. Do something before. Well, she now pushed her off the apartment building while Doyeon was distracted. She fell to the ground and died. Because of the guilt of murder that she couldn't handle, Seyun was returning back into monster form. She said it wasn't her fault, then asked if Doyeon agreed. She apologized if she scared him a little bit, but she doesn't mean to cause such trouble for him. Hayeon immediately tried to drag Doyeon away from her, but then a black mist started to envelop her and she disappeared. Seyun stood up from the ground and then she told Doyeon that she really likes him. Then her body fell apart, losing all the limbs that was cut off from her body. She looked at Doyeon and told him that it was okay for her if she wasn't number one. Then because he was such a coward, don't worry, he changes. I would run too, but because he did run, after telling her that he promises to not run, this made her mad, incredibly mad. She once again felt betrayed. The door won't open, as usual with these scenarios. Now Seyun was completely unrecognizable and asked Doyeon why she was running away from him. Just why? She asked again. Doyeon fell from fear and Seyun went to ask why he was running. He told her that he wouldn't run. He really promised it. Was it because she pushed that person of? She deserved it after all she's done. She just couldn't control her anger. Does he not get it? Doyeon answered that he understands her, but now he was gonna take the fall. That really scares him, like last time. If only she told her beforehand what her friend looked like. Then she went on to say that her place was a little small, but it was enough for the two of them. He can even bring Haeyeon with him. Then she retracted that. She doesn't actually like the idea of that. She wanted just the two of them. She will love him deeply too. Doyeon was still worried what happens when the police arrive. He can't run away. There was nowhere to run. Just like that, below the police had arrived, and even an ambulance too. He can't run because it was obvious that he will be pinned as the killer. Just where did things go wrong, he asked to himself. Should he have never gone here? Was it wrong for him to help someone? If only he didn't download the shit-ass game to begin with. But he knows that was just a bad side of himself. He should have just trusted Seyun. He shouldn't have panicked. If he hadn't panicked, got scared, and just believed her. Then his tone immediately changed. He shoved Seyun away and scoffed at the idea of them living together. He told her that she was more into upbeat, bubbly girls like Hayeon. He hated boring girls like her. Damn. Then he continued to say he might have gotten something out of this, but who knew she was just some broke girl in a dump? She should have been born to richer parents, so he would have had a point in helping her. Then he asked if she was going to shove him off now too. He was doing this simply to start over again. Seyun knew Doyeon wasn't this type of person and started to panic. Then he threw the heavy hitter, telling her that was probably why her friend killed her. She was a shit judge of character. She was gross and should just disappear. He's off to find a rich, pretty ghost now. She almost made him think she actually had something to offer. Doyeon knew that he only went back when a heroine killed her, so he wasn't risking just jumping off. So then Seyun did attack him, strangling him by the neck. Soon enough, he died, and he went back to when the lightning struck. He looked behind him, and the two were right there beside him. He was so happy, he immediately hugged the two of them. The two got so flustered, of course, this love thing is truly sweet. Doyeon was just so happy to see them and to see that Seyun was still okay. Then she appeared again. Now this time, Doyeon patted Seyun's head and took control of the situation before Seyun gets lost in madness once again. He asked if that was the friend she talked about. She then asked her the name of this pig. After she told it to him, he requested for Seyun to leave everything to Doyeon. He will handle everything, so she just needs to trust him. He won't be a coward this time. He then went on to apologize to the pig and told her he had a few questions to ask her. But then she was already calling the police over, telling them about an intruder. Then he said her real name, but there was no reaction. Oh, and Doyeon is recording this conversation on his phone. That's so smart. So he asked her if she asked where she dumped Seyun's body after killing her. This finally made her remove her phone from her ear, and she was left speechless for a second. She then got mad, calling him delusional, telling him that he was Seyun. She just gained a little weight, so what was he talking about? Then he talked about how he saw an article of someone filling out their own death certificate and living someone else's life. Was she really going to keep living this lie of a life? Did she think no one would notice what she did? She was still caught up and didn't want to admit it at all, even daring to tell him it's illegal to dig up her information. Doyeon just dismissed it. What background check? She wasn't even Seyun. Then her fatty cheeks rippled disgustingly as she yelled that she was Seyun. Then the police on the call of her phone started to talk, so then she yelled again, asking for help, that a psycho was stalking her. Her scream made the neighbors come out of their apartments, all looking at Doyeon. She then went on to yelling that a madman was trying to kidnap her. Doyeon pleaded to the others that it was all a lie she was making up. Because of this sudden slip-up, Seyun was starting to go deep into madness again, so he yelled that the pig killed someone important to him, which was enough to bring her back to reality. The police appeared and told the MC that nothing was suspicious about her and that they will be both brought in for questioning. He agreed about the question and all that, he just wanted them to check her fingerprint or anything because she murdered someone. The police told him that refusing to cooperate won't help. They would need to go to the station and resolve it there. But all Doyeon was worrying about in that moment wasn't the prison, it was Seyun going mad and killing everyone here. Then he went on to ask the many neighbors just here for a piece of gossip if any of them knew Seyun, not even just her name, just her face if they knew. Luckily, this grandma then appeared saying that that pig wasn't Seyun. She thought she just went away for a while, but if what Doyeon said was true, that was just going too far for the pig to do all that. The grandma supported the claim, telling the police that that pig was the friend Seyun lived with, not Seyun. She could always hear them fighting, she's lived next door for years so she knows what she looks like. Then this pig yelled at her again, calling her senile to not recognize her face, insulting to all creatures. The policewoman tried to calm the rampaging boar, but she was too crazy to stop her yelling, calling herself the victim of this entire situation. Then Doyeon slapped her, "Damn, nice one." The police then came to separate the two and he was immediately being under arrest for assault. Doyeon agreed and didn't care about the arrest, but now that there was an actual crime, they also have to take her for questioning and they heard the neighbor's testimony, they should do a proper identity check on her. In the station, Doyeon was currently behind bars, currently in the state of regretting his boldness. But he was proud, hoping it just doesn't blow on his face. Seyun ended up running to the car with him, so she was the only one that got to him and Hyeon was left there and he can't help but worry about her. He did tell her that he'll come get her after, but of course worrying about her will not change because of that. Seyun was apologizing to Doyeon for getting him involved in so much mess. Doyeon told her that it was fine, he was just there for investigation and he didn't really do anything bad, so he will be fine. Then she told him that being around him really calms her down. She hated her so much, but then Doyeon got angry at her for her own sake and for the first time she felt like she could breathe. She apologized to him again, and then Doyeon apologized to her, saying he wasn't really much of help. He promised her that he will take her home and now they're behind bars, so it seems he couldn't keep his promise at all. So because of that, he will come get her home tonight. She just said okay as she blushed, then she inched her finger closer to his and then hugged him immediately after. He apologized to him for that, but she just wanted to have this moment for a little longer. She's sorry for Hyeon, but she'll only do it till the sun comes up. In her mind she wondered, what if this person ends up hating her? What if this was all just a dream? As she started to disappear, Doyeon reminded her that if something happens and he ends up running late, he promised to come get her no matter what. He's super busy, so she shouldn't run away like last time anymore. She got it. She won't run away anymore, cause she knows she loves him deeply now. She now disappeared, and the date had ended. Because of his death penalty, the evaluation was just a C, but he was surprised about was that his phone just appeared on his hand, the cops took it earlier. But then something more surprising happened, his friend was calling him. He answered immediately and that made him stood up. His friend was calling from atop a rooftop telling him he was sorry for dragging him to the game. It was his only way to survive. Then he told him that no matter what he does, he should never be nice to them. Let me tell you though, this guy was a piece of shit. That's why he became like this. But that's for the future of the story. Hyeon was just waiting at the apartment wondering if Doyeon was okay. He was also wondering what Seon might be doing with Doyeon right now. She's been there before, so she went out thinking she might get there eventually. As they say on some superstitions, animals can see ghosts, so Haeon can't move forward cause of a dog. Because of that dog, she was left behind by the bus after already waiting for an hour. She truly was useless, but she knew that, so she has to just keep trying. Remember, if you've got nothing, there's nothing to lose if you keep trying. Back to Doyeon talking with his friend. He was just telling him that the longer he stays with them, the more they will cling to him, though he shouldn't start caring about them too the moment their affection drops. Well, the call dropped too. But you know what happens when the affection drops? The police finally came, telling him it was time for the investigator questioning. However, he wanted to go to the bathroom first and asked. While in the bathroom, he was punching the wall, complaining that if his friend was going to explain shit, he should have done it properly. When he got out, that detective from before appeared. He wasn't the one questioning him, but he just visited. The questioning finally started, but Doyeon was still caught up with his friend's well-being. The investigator asked about it, and after Doyon got back to himself, the questioning began. The guy said that they did do an investigation and it was true that the pig wasn't Seiyun, but even then she was still denying it. Doyon asked what he meant by that, but due to laws, it seems he can't say. What he does want to ask is that Doyon doesn't have any connection to Seiyun at all, so how would he know about it? While shaking, knowing they won't believe, he just blurted it out that Seiyun herself told him. The investigator was confused, and then that's when the detective from before came to stop the investigation for now, as Doyon seems out of it. Personally, he thinks Doyon's innocent, he just looks like he's running on fumes. The investigator was annoyed, but he agreed with it either way. Doyon thanked the detective, telling him he was a little overwhelmed back there. The detective asked just what he has been going through. It looked like he haven't slept in days. He said he can't really explain, and the detective was respectful about it and just asked him his number. Then Doyon requested if he can drop him off at the apartment of Seiyun. The detective replied that he should probably rest first as he looked past his limits. He replied that he can't. He still has a lot of things to do. He needs to pick up Hayan and Seiyun, check up on his friend, catch Hayan's killer, make money. He made a promise to them. He has to help them because they are all waiting for him. The detective gave in and told him he will bring him there. Doyon said his thanks, but then his body truly can't keep up anymore and he fell to the ground. But he was still fighting to get up because he knows how terrifying it was to wait forever for someone not knowing if they'll ever come back, like what he experienced with the reason he even became a streamer.